Evening, peeps. Good evening, everyone. All right, let's see what there is to talk about from the world of boxing today. There's always something, right? It's true, there is. There's always something. Before we do that, a couple of things. Firstly, if you haven't already done this, please hit that subscribe button. We are closing in on 30,000 subscribers, which is crazy. It really is. So, yeah, thank you so much to everyone that has subscribed. If you haven't done it, please do. Second thing, remember, we are doing a live watch-along this week of Liam Williams versus Eubank Jr. We'll start at 8 o'clock. So hopefully that's the majority of the card. If it's not, that's a shame because I really wanted to cover all the card, but I have something to do that will finish at 6:30 and it's probably going to take me about an hour to get back to the studio. So yeah, we are going to start at 8 o'clock, which I'm looking forward to doing. Sunday session live on Sunday, obviously, will be at 8 o'clock as well. So we've got a lot of fun to do on the weekend. So yeah, Saturday live watch along, Sunday session live. I do travel next week. I don't know if you guys know this. I'm sure you do. I think I've mentioned it, but I am lucky to be going to the Super Bowl next week. So I travel on Monday. I haven't actually left the country since, I guess for most of you it's like this as well, but I haven't left the country since December 2019 for AJ Ruiz 2 in Saudi Arabia, which was kind of work anyway. As a holiday, I haven't left the country since October 2019 when I went to Cuba with a good friend of mine called Kwame. So it's been a long, long time. So yeah, I am looking forward to getting away. It's a shame though, I wanted to be here on Monday because Jake Paul is coming to TalkSport on Monday and it'd been nice to have caught up with him and Eddie Hearn. But yeah, we are leaving. I am going to do loads of behind the scenes stuff around Super Bowl. We're going to an NBA game as well, LA Lakers versus the Bucks. I don't know if you guys are NBA fans, but yeah, I'll do a few behind the scenes videos anyway. So it should be fun. All right, let's start with this story. Joseph Parker is open to the possibility of facing Joe Joyce, says his manager. Look, we'll see. We'll see, man. It does seem like, you know, Hrgovic and Joe Joyce are the two most avoided heavyweights in the world right now. That's what it seems like. And that could be for a number of reasons. Number one, what have they got to offer, right? I mean, neither of them have titles. Neither of them are big draws. Do you know what I mean? So it's not like there's a bag load of money on the table or there's a world title. There isn't that. I guess what both of them do is put you in a position to fight for a world title. I've said I want to see Joseph Parker versus Andy Ruiz. Look, I just want to see Joseph Parker in there after that performance against Chisora, against a top 15 guy. That's all I want, really. Whether that be Tony Yoka, whether that be Andy Ruiz, whether that be Joe Joyce, whether that be Filip Hrgovic, whoever it is, it needs to be a good name next. What we don't want is a case of, oh yeah, you know, let's go backwards to go forwards again. No. Let's not do that. You had the two back-to-back fights with Derek Chisora. You won them both. The first one was quite close, but the second one was convincing. Let's go up now. Let's go up the rankings. Let's not look backwards. There has been some talk about a rematch with Hughie Fury as well. I just don't see how that happens. I wouldn't mind Joe Joyce. Seems difficult to do, if I'm honest with you. Both of them on different broadcasters. We know how all that shit works now. So it's going to be difficult. But again, before people talk about, you know, Joe Joyce being ducked and Hrgovic being ducked, again, sometimes it comes down to, okay, what have they got? If it's not a lot of money, and I don't know if it is, I'm not quite sure if it is, and it's not a world title, that's always a problem. But look, hopefully they're all in great fights in 2022, all of them. A bit here about Eddie Hearn. Not disappointed he lost Fury White Perspid. Nah, he is. He'll be disappointed. He'll be disappointed because Eddie Hearn likes to put on the biggest fights that can be put on. I guess that must be his dream as a promoter. You want to put on the biggest fights, especially over here in the UK. And if Usyk AJ happens, fine. But if not, this will be the biggest fight in the UK this year. It'll be one of the biggest fights in the UK for a long time. And Eddie Hearn would love to be front and centre of that. So he will be disappointed. He would be. DAZN are going to be disappointed. I say DAZN. It seems as though Ben Shalom was there on behalf of Dillian Whyte. That's according to Frank Warren. So I'm not quite sure what's going on with Dillian Whyte and Matchroom and DAZN. I'm not sure at all. So maybe Dillian Whyte was a free agent. Honestly, I've no idea what's going on with Dillian Whyte. Obviously, he's not spoken since this Tyson Fury Dillian Whyte fight was, I was going to say announced, it's not been officially announced, but since the Perspid, he's not said anything. But yeah, back to the point about Eddie Hearn. He will be disappointed. I think Eddie Hearn, I was watching the press conference today or yesterday for Eubank Jr., Liam Williams. He'll be upset not being involved in that. He'll be upset about not being involved in Calm Brook. He'll be upset about not being involved with Josh Taylor, Jack Cattrall. Yes, he's got a lot on his plate right now, but he's always had a lot on his plate. He wants to be involved, if not in the biggest fights in the world, because he considers himself the biggest promoter in the world, at least be involved in the biggest fights in the UK. So he'll be disappointed. I'm not having that at all. Keith Thurman, I am the most exciting fight for any champ out there. All right, let's talk about this. Keith Thurman versus Mario Barrios, obviously this Saturday. I'm not sure if I'm going to do a live watch along for that. I was thinking, should I stay up and just do an all-nighter? I don't know. Leo Santa Cruz is fighting on that card as well, by the way. I think he's fighting at featherweight. Could be wrong. Could be wrong. Remember, he is the world champion. I think people forget that. Obviously, the belt that Lee Wood has, Leo Santa Cruz is the super champion. So I'm not quite sure if it is featherweight, but if it's not, it'll probably be super feather. But back to Keith Thurman. There's a lot wrong with Keith. Okay, let me word this correctly. The biggest killer for a boxer, there's three or four different things. Age, massive killer. You just can't fight age. How many times do we see fighters just succumb to father time in the ring? Injuries. You can't fight injuries. You can't. Once your body gets injuries, that's it. Gary Russell Jr. spoke about having an injury before his fight, didn't he? And then the arm just went. David Haye, I mean, again, physically looks like an Adonis. The body just started falling apart. You can't fight injuries, you can't fight age, and you can't fight inactivity. Don't care who you are. You cannot fight inactivity. Now, imagine having all three of those things. Keith Thurman's got all three. Age, inactivity, and he's had a lot of injuries. So as much as I am excited for Keith Thurman's return, I am excited, by the way, for Keith Thurman's return. I think, look, a good, hungry Keith Thurman's a good addition to the welterweights. He is. Whether that means we see those fights against Errol Spence, Ugas, or Crawford. If not, then there is the Virgil Ortiz is coming up. The Boots Ennis is coming up. There are, dare say, I spoke to Conor Benn. Conor Benn mentioned Keith Thurman's name. So there's loads of fights potentially for Keith Thurman. So look, a fit Keith Thurman is a great addition to the welterweight scene once again. But again, I'll go through those things. Age, inactivity, and injuries. He's had them all. He's got them all. And that's why, even though he might get through this weekend, in the long run, I don't see how he gets past those guys I've mentioned. Look, maybe he gets past the Conor Benn, because, you know, the Keith Thurman that we know should beat I keep pointing because Conor was there, should beat a Conor Benn. But the rest of those guys, you wouldn't have him favourite against any of those guys, would you? Boots Ennis, Virgil Ortiz, Ugas, Crawford, Spence, you wouldn't have him favourite against any of those. So I'm not sure, man. I'm really not. I've been watching those kind of behind the scenes things that PBC have been putting out. He looks really old, you know. I don't know if it's the hair. I don't know what it is, but he looks really old. But look, I like Keith. I do. I mean, when Keith had those fights a few years back against Sean Porter and Danny Garcia and even Manny Pacquiao in August 2019, so aggressive, so mean. I mean, he was a very, very good fighter. I'm not quite sure what Keith is now. I'm not. And I don't know anyone that can convince me or can convincingly say they know what Keith's coming. They don't have no idea. They have no idea because he's not fought since August 2019. He's not won a fight since, I think, January of 2019, and that was a majority or split decision. Let's have a look at that again. Yeah, so his last fight that he won, January, 26th of January 2019, a majority decision against Josecito Lopez. He hasn't won a fight for 3 years. So how anyone can convincingly say, that, you know, Keith's going to do A, B, and C, you're lying. That's what it is, you're lying. And against Mario Barrios, like, if you go back and watch, and look, it was Gervonta Davis coming up a couple of weight classes. Gervonta Davis is that high. Keith Thurman's that high. There's a lot of difference between Gervonta and Keith stylistically. But if you watch Barrios against Gervonta, he was causing Gervonta some problems, you know. that stick and move was pretty good. He was fighting on the back foot, and when he did engage, he engaged and kind of moved off, and in the end, look, he got caught. He couldn't keep up to it, and that could be because of the weight cut. The weight cut was a problem for him. It was a massive problem. He looks a bit fuller at 147. He's only lost just the once. He is more active. He's younger. Not many injuries, or at least nothing we know of. So everything that I went and said against Keith Thurman in terms of age, injuries, inactivity, I can't say that about Mario Barrios. You can't. Now, skill-wise, Keith Thurman's ceiling's higher than Barrios's, or was. Keith Thurman's on a decline. Now, has he declined enough to the point where he is now at a Barrios level? I guess we'll find out on the early hours of Sunday morning. I guess we will. I do want to see the Keith Thurman of 2016, 2015, 2017. I do. I've had that dream about fighters so many times. You can't just rewind the clock like that. You can't. And I'm not saying rewind the clock a couple of years. I'm talking about rewinding the clock 7 years. I'm talking about rewinding the clock to go back to the Keith Thurman of 2015. That's impossible. That's impossible. How old is Keith, by the way? I think he's 34. How old's Keith Thurman? 2 sex peeps. 34, 35, I'm guessing. Okay, 33. Okay, he's not as old as I thought. Look, we'll see. We'll see. Again, I would love it because, I mean, and if you're a Terence Crawford, you would love it as well, especially if he looks really good, because then Terence has got a big fight at 147. You would love it. I mean, even if you're an Ugas, because look, a lot of people think Ugas is going to beat Errol Spence. Look, whoever it is out there, Keith Thurman is a good name in the division. He's a good name. And I'm saying that even if it comes back and the pay-per-view stinks out the place, forget all that for a second. Keith Thurman's just a good name in the welterweight division. So let's see. I think it's his last hurrah, and I wouldn't be shocked if he loses. Wouldn't be shocked at all. So I'm going for a Keith Thurman win with no confidence whatsoever. Zero confidence. None. Because, again, I haven't seen him have a fight for 2.5 years. Again, I've not seen him win for 3 years. That's the problem. Teofimo Lopez lashes out at critics. F humble, it's growth. I don't know what's going on with Teofimo. It's got to the point when I'm reading stuff from Teofimo, it's got to the point where I'm actually questioning his mental health a little bit here. This is the problem with, and it scares me about, this could happen with Devin Haney, could happen with Ryan Garcia, Javante, could even happen with Shakur Stevenson. The confidence levels, and look, it's good to be super confident. Obviously, there's a bit of arrogance when you are super confident, I think. But when you lose, it's how you deal with it. And I don't expect any of them. And look, I personally don't think I don't think any of them are going to go through their career unbeaten, and that's not a bad thing. I mean, you know, fighters can lose. The best in the world have lost multiple times, but I just don't see how they deal with it. I really don't at all. I remember Devin Haney when Gary Russell Jr. lost, and he said, "Oh, look at Haney losing to that bum." Sorry, look at Gary Russell Jr. losing to that bum. And I was like, you better not lose. That's all I could think was, you better not lose, or you're going to have, it's going to be difficult for you to deal with, put it that way. And I almost feel like Teofimo is going through this now as well, where the loss has affected him so badly that he's almost blaming everyone else apart from himself. Blaming the haters, blaming everyone else apart from looking within. Looking at his fight camp, looking at the people in and around that fight camp, looking at his dad, which is always difficult, but looking at his dad and blaming his dad maybe for the antics in the lead up to the fight and the tactics during the fight. Everyone else is getting blamed apart from the obvious. Man, I don't know. I'm a bit weary of his mental state right now, so I don't want to go too hard into Teofimo Lopez, but I don't know, man. I really don't. I mean, you got to even look at someone like a Ryan Garcia, who's had his struggles with mental problems already, and I'm thinking, my God, you've not even tasted an L yet. What happens when you lose? But I'm really, really scared of what happens when Shakur Stevenson or Devin Haney loses. And it's almost inevitable they're going to lose. I mean, how many boxers go through their career with just wins? It's difficult. Very, very difficult. So, I mean, look, good luck to Teofimo and whatever he's going through right now. But sometimes you just got to look within yourself. Do you know what I mean? Sometimes. Khan questions Brooks' well-being. I live that clean life. Kel goes on a bender. Can't wait for this one. I really can't wait for it. I will be there for it as well. Not in any working capacity, I don't think. I did think the Zone were going to do something, but I don't think they are anymore. So I just will be there. Luckily, I'll get a ticket from someone and I will be there. Looking forward to it. Looking forward to see what Tasha Jonas can do as well. Remember, she fights on that card. She goes up 3 weight classes. She's fighting that super welterweight, 154 pounds. It's a lot, man. It's a lot, especially when you can think that I thought that she looked a bit undersized against Katie Taylor. Let's not forget, she came up from Terry Harper, Katie Taylor. She had that fight in between a few months back, and now she's going to 154 pounds. That's a lot. That's a lot. I spoke to her on Monday, and she did say, look, she's not going to stay there. She's not going to stay. And I said, look, I would give everything in my bank account to see you fight Alicia Baumgardner at 130 if you can still make 130. And she kind of laughed. But that's the kind of fight she wants to be in and around. But she also wants to win a world title. She's missed out twice, very, very close. Terry Harper draw, Katie Taylor, she lost, I think, by split decision, or was it a majority decision? So she's been close. Anything else? By the way, what's going on? Obviously, the Zone, it looked like will buy BT Sports. It's now Discovery Channel that are going to buy BT Sports. I'm not quite sure what's happened. It's weird how people reach out to me. I just do a couple of shows for the Zone. I have no idea what goes on behind the scenes. I really don't. But yeah, it's disappointing to see because I already was planning my big future. But no. Jamel Charlo versus Brian Castano 2 finalized for the Crypto.com Arena in LA on the 19th of March. I thought Brian Castano done enough to win the first fight, but I do think that Jamel Charlo has more than enough to win this rematch. Again, I don't want to say underestimated Brian Castano because I don't think it's that. I just think he'll watch the tape and think, okay, I know what to do. Jamel Charlo is a fantastic boxer. I really like Jamel Charlo as a fighter, and this will be his last fight, 154 pounds. I have no doubt about it. Unless he loses, then there might be the trilogy fight. But yeah, I think he'll get the job done, and then we'll see him at 160, where there are a lot of fights for him at 160. Look, potentially, and I mean, you could say he could face the winner of Eubank versus Williams. Good fight, right? Especially if it's Eubank. I wouldn't mind seeing Eubank versus Jamel Charlo at 160. I wouldn't. Although, by the way, since I done that video a couple of days ago, a lot of people are very much like, Williams can win this. A lot of people are now thinking that. A lot of people. I'll tell you this, Williams hits harder, which might surprise people. He does. He hits harder, Williams. I think he's the better boxer of the two. He's got the better trainer as well, and that might surprise people when I say that. It's true. You only have to look at Adam Booth's CV. And look, don't be fooled by Roy Jones as a boxer. Obviously, look, I'm not saying anything about that, but as a trainer, Adam Booth has the proven track record, having trained how many world champions? 2, 3. He's a very, very good trainer, so he's got the better trainer. Adam Booth will definitely get him mentally prepared. I don't know how much work he's actually done with Adam Booth. You know, all this switching of trainers isn't great, but there's a lot to like about Williams winning this fight, and plus, obviously, it's in Cardiff. You know, that is home advantage, no? It is. I think, guys, that's it. Yeah, that is it, actually. Before we do that, you know, we've got a couple of minutes. Let's see if we can see anything on Mr. Mike Carpenter's Twitter page. See if there's anything to talk about on here. Someone was asking me, Ade, why don't you have the blue ticks on Twitter and Instagram? And I was like, firstly, I really don't care about that shit because the blue ticks do not pay the rent. Yeah, nothing much here. No, nothing much here. This was good from Shakur Stevenson. Oh, by the way, this is good as well, by the way, that Vargas Smith is on the undercard of Katie Taylor Serrano. I think that's a good fight on the undercard. I liked this, and I think I retweeted it from Shakur Stevenson when he says that he hopes, obviously Shakur Stevenson fights Oscar Valdez April 30th, and he said he hopes that the times are staggered so that his fight doesn't clash with Serrano versus Katie Taylor. Good. I do like that. I like that a lot. All right, guys, thank you. I don't know why I'm doing that. Don't know why I just did it again. Peace.